June 1942. The Pacific is aflame. The mighty Japanese Imperial Navy dominates the ocean, and the United States, still reeling from the devastation at Pearl Harbor, scrambles to regroup. But in one legendary confrontation over a remote atoll called Midway, the tide of war turns forever. This is the full story of the Battle of Midway, one of the most decisive and dramatic naval battles in history. Following the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, the Japanese war machine surged across the Pacific and Southeast Asia. Within months, they seized the Philippines, Hong Kong, Malaya, Singapore, and the Dutch East Indies. The Allies were on the defensive, and Japan seemed unstoppable. Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, the architect of the Pearl Harbor strike, understood that time was not on Japan's side. American industrial power was gearing up, and the longer the war lasted, the more likely the United States would turn the tide. Yamamoto believed that Japan's only hope was to destroy the remainder of the U.S. Pacific Fleet quickly, especially its aircraft carriers, which had escaped Pearl Harbor. His plan: lure the American fleet into a trap by attacking Midway Atoll, an isolated but strategically vital American outpost in the Pacific. Located roughly halfway between Asia and North America, Midway served as a critical point for projecting power across the Pacific. If Japan could take it, they could threaten Hawaii directly and force the United States into a negotiated peace. Unknown to Yamamoto, the United States had a secret weapon: intelligence. At Station H, YPO in Pearl Harbor, a team of cryptanalysts, led by Commander Joseph Rochefort, had made a breakthrough. They had cracked JN-25, the Japanese Navy's main code. Cracking JN-25 wasn't easy. It involved painstaking effort, collaboration with British codebreakers, and round-the-clock analysis of partial decrypts. By May 1942, Rochefort's team suspected a major Japanese operation was imminent. Intercepted communications repeatedly mentioned AF as the objective. To confirm their theory that AF referred to Midway, the Americans conducted a clever ruse. They had Midway transmit an unencrypted message stating that their freshwater condenser had broken down. Shortly after, intercepted Japanese communications mentioned that AI was short on water. The codebreakers had their proof. Thanks to this confirmation, Admiral Chester Nimitz, commander of the Pacific Fleet, prepared an ambush of his own. Nimitz acted decisively. Knowing the date, direction, and approximate strength of the Japanese force, he set a trap near Midway. He dispatched Task Force 16, led by Rear Admiral Raymond Spruance, and including the carriers USS Enterprise and USS Hornet, to lie in wait northeast of the atoll. Task Force 17, led by Rear Admiral Frank Jack Fletcher, brought the hastily repaired USS Yorktown into the fray. Midway itself was reinforced with over 100 aircraft, including Marine Corps fighters, B-17 flying fortresses, and torpedo bombers. The garrison prepared for a fight to the death. Meanwhile, Yamamoto's plan was complex and ambitious. It involved multiple fleets, a main carrier force under Vice Admiral Chuichi Nagumo, a support force to attack the Aleutian Islands as a diversion, and the combined fleet under Yamamoto himself, which logged hundreds of miles behind in battleships. However, the Japanese underestimated American strength and resolve. They believed Yorktown had been sunk at Coral Sea. They did not expect a large U.S. carrier presence. At 430 hours on June 4, Japanese carriers launched a massive airstrike of 108 aircraft to bombard Midway Island. Radar on the island detected them early, allowing the defenders to scramble fighters. Despite heavy resistance, Japanese bombers caused serious damage to Midway's installations. but the airstrip remained operational. The defenders suffered losses, yet held firm. More importantly, Nagumo's planes needed a second strike to finish the job. As the Japanese planes returned, Nagumo faced a dilemma. Should he prepare another strike on Midway or rearm his planes with torpedoes to counter an unexpected American fleet sighting? He chose to rearm for anti-ship operations, delaying his next move. While Japanese crews scrambled to rearm and refuel planes below deck, U.S. carrier-based squadrons closed in. The first attacks by torpedo bombers from Hornet, Enterprise, and Yorktown were brave but costly. Nearly all were shot down by Japanese fighters, yet their sacrifice wasn't in vain. As the defending Japanese fighters chased low-flying torpedo planes, they left the skies above open. At 10:22 a.m., American dive bombers from Enterprise and Yorktown arrived overhead, unnoticed. The result was catastrophic for the Japanese. In a matter of minutes, 3 carriers, Akagi, Kaga, and Soryu, were turned into floating infernos. Fuel lines ruptured, bomb-laden aircraft exploded, and command centers burned. The Japanese flagship Akagi had to be scuttled by her own escorts to prevent capture. Only one Japanese carrier remained. Acting independently, her commander launched 2 desperate strikes. The first wave damaged Yorktown with bombs. American crews impressively restored flight operations in under an hour. But the second wave found and struck Yorktown again, this time with torpedoes. The proud ship was mortally wounded and would later be finished by a Japanese submarine, I-168. That evening, dive bombers from Enterprise located Hiryu. Their attack set her ablaze. By morning, she too was scuttled. Japan had lost all 4 of its frontline carriers. The battle raged until June 7, with American ships and submarines mopping up the remnants of the Japanese fleet. The cost for Japan was staggering. 4 fleet carriers, 1 heavy cruiser, over 300 aircraft, and 3,000 sailors and airmen. Many of their most experienced naval aviators, men who had trained since the 1930s, were lost. The United States, by contrast, lost Yorktown, 1 destroyer, and 307 personnel. The victory was not only material, it was psychological. America had proven it could defeat Japan at sea. Midway was the turning point of the Pacific War. It shattered Japan's carrier superiority and forced them onto the defensive. They would never again launch a major offensive in the Pacific. It highlighted the importance of intelligence, the bravery of pilots, and the resilience of American sailors. It proved that careful planning and courage could overcome overwhelming odds. Midway remains a case study in military strategy and leadership. Naval academies around the world still analyze its lessons.